Okay, well, this was my first proper album. It's called A Meal You Can Shake Hands With in the Dark, a typically surrealist title. And the great art on the cover and on all subsequent Harvest records that I did was by Mal Dean. Mal Dean was a very close friend of mine. We lived in the same place for quite a while. He had been at Liverpool Art School with John Lennon, so he came from a very good sort of anarchic background. Um, and we had a great deal in common. We loved jazz, and we loved the kind of character of musicians, which I suppose I eventually grew into myself. Mal, of course, played the trumpet as well in a very strange way, which was quite interesting in a kind of free jazz group. And this particular one, the Battered Ornaments was a band full of disparate characters. The age range was from 18 to 44. All of us mavericks of one kind or another. And he went for the bizarre characters of the guys in the band. He was always doing stuff of me because we had known each other for a long time and he'd been involved in some of my poetry stuff. Um, but so he knew he had various takes on me as a kind of character. But he also loved George Kahn, who's the saxophone player on this. In fact, George Kahn's name was the last thing he said before he died, in fact, which was, he died of cancer when he was only 32 in 74, which is a tragic loss. And but he was, anyway, one of my best friends, and we shared a kind of surreal, hip sort of sense of humour, which we tried to get into these record sleeves. And most of these ideas on the Battered Ornaments one were his. Most of the concept was his. And as you see here, he's got illustrations of the various kind of aspects of... the Battered Ornaments was on the road all the time. And so he kind of goes into the stories of how we're kind of collected for a gig that it's a story in itself. And then the cover is just kind of images, kind of British rubbish images, surreal images. We were both into aeroplanes a lot, so there's some very hip aeroplanes, a Boeing P-26, and there's a kind of old battleship. You know, we're into both being pacifists. We were both very interested in war, and also it's the squalor. Some of the squalor there is to do with the kind of squalor we used to live in when we first all left home and cultivated squalor for quite a long time. So you get some kind of quite squalid imagery down the bottom there. And then the second one, when I formed Pablotto, this was a different idea. I had this idea that, with Mal, of course, that a lot of the great talent in British music had come out of the 50s and 60s art school scene, and I made this song which was called The Art School Dance Goes On Forever, in which people are becoming the characters they're dressed up as, which was a thing that sort of happened with the rock and roll and jazz scene. And we get all sorts of kind of famous artists, you know, like Max Ernst and people like that. And we also get some of the art school graduates, like, you know, Clapton and Ginger Baker, and we get Magritte, and then we get friends and also Alistair Gray, incidentally, who is still a great friend of mine, who's a famous writer and artist, who actually did the murals in this room. He's currently one of the greatest novelists in the world, I think. Dali, we've got poor old Viv, who's just left us. Great friend Dick Extall Smith. Lots of mates, you know, and then the band, of course. And the art school dance was, you know, was mostly, as I say, mostly characters that had been at art school in the 50s and 60s. You got some of the trad people there. You got a few aeroplanes. You got John Mumford, who's still around, playing in Zurich and played on the last Jack Bruce 50th birthday gig. Arthur Brown, who I'm currently working with. my cousin Marty Feldman, who I didn't actually know was my cousin at the time. That was strange. He was actually my third cousin. So it's all that. And we get the concept. This was a concept. This was Thousands on a Raft, the last album we did for Harvest. And of course this is not cartoon style. This is a photograph which was conceived by Mal and myself. Thousands on a Raft was one of our roadies' slang for beans on toast. So we had a concept of civilization, which was the people were the beans and the toast was the world, and the idea in the song was that the toast is drifting out to sea, getting soggier and soggier, and the overpopulated beans are falling off the edge and fighting each other to survive. And we decided to do this in a very dismal portrayal. So we did it on a kind of bomb site, and we put the beans on toast in this puddle. And of course, to represent the failure of technology, we have the Titanic and also a crashed Concorde, which luckily was not prophetic. And that was that one. Then the last one we did was a poetry album. I was working for DRAM as this was a different label, of course, working for DRAM as a A&R man. It was my first A&R job. And they asked me to do a poetry and music album, so I did this, which I produced myself. And the idea was a lot of old pictures of me in various poetry and sort of weird situations put together as a collage with images from the poetry and one or two words, actual phrases from my poems. And Dean always had this image of me as a kind of rather battered teddy bear. So he's got me here being this kind of rather battered teddy bear. That's meant to be me, I think, in a way. Yeah, I mean, we got on, Mal and I, well, Mal was, I think, one of the great artists. I think they recently had a big retrospective exhibition of his work, which toured all over the place. And it's nice to be able to present this as a kind of tribute to him, really, so, yeah.
I'm so new compared to you, and I am very small. Warm glow, moon blue, always need a little more room. Waiting here seems like years. Never seen the light of day. the light and dark, the night I feel my dawn is near. Warm glow, warm gloom, always need a little more room. Whisper low, here I go, I will see the sunshine show. Stations that sleep in the cold. Nights were so cold. Old times ring out the chimes I used to hear. And no point in saving what's left of the love for clouds up above. The faces that dance in the glass, the lights chase them past each other. Walking with people that came from the sky, better to try. The candles that cry in their cage, tears were all the rage. Strange times broke up the rhymes I used to know. And no point in keeping the last of the wine for years in the ground. See the faces that dance in the flames, playing their games with each other. And talking to people who came from the stars, and driving their cars. lights in the glass. The lights chase them past each other. Walking with people that fell from the sky. Better to try in
When she rises, wipes the sleep from her eyes, and you know she's been crying all night. She despises you and anything that you might say, 'cause it just isn't right. Coffee lounges and their hostess thought your friends just wouldn't notice. Office girl, she was a mover, had to be the all-time loser. What a peculiar twist when she cut her wrist. Only time and the hate of the things that I've done can release all my pain. Until I get the urge to be free, then I'll cheat and I'll do it again. Wonder now if I will ever finally get myself together. Time is scarce and getting scarcer. Here's my soul, now hang it there, sir. What a peculiar twist when she cut her wrist. Only time and the hate of the things that I've done can release all my pain. Until I get the urge to be free, then I'll cheat and I'll do it again. Wonder now if I will ever finally get myself together. Time is scarce and getting scarcer. Here's my soul, now hang it there, sir. What a peculiar twist. I've just cut my wrist.
I had this idea of just fire and water shaking hands in the middle, being the hair, and the face, as you can see, is still in pencil. It never ever got finished because it should have been on their desk like yesterday, and ended up being on their desk for like 2 years, and it didn't ever get finished. But at the end of the day, I quite like it being in pencil. That's all right for me. This other one, Message from the Country, was originally Jeff Lynne and myself were travelling on the train to London in the buffet car, and we were just having a natter about ideas for the album cover, and these all sort of came out, and I did a rough sketch, I think on a serviette or something like that, and when we got back home I just sort of started on it. It's supposed to be on a sort of a different planet type of thing. I don't know what that Indian chap's doing, just stuck in there for a laugh really. And yet again, the faces were done in pencil, but it seemed more, rather than being too definite, I preferred them that way, so that they look like a sort of a ghostly sort of vision. Jobbo. For you quiz people, which one came first? I bet you don't know. Well, actually, this one came on the market first, Message from the Country. But Boulders was actually recorded 2 years before it came to light, because at the time we were recording as The Move, and also we just started ELO, and EMI didn't want people to be confused about, what was going on. So my Boulders solo album had to be on the shelf for a while. But there you go. There's a couple to start with.